Vasily Lomachenko. He might be the best boxer that's ever lived. Lomachenko is on you like glue, stands right in front of you and you can't hit him. And he's going left and he's going right and he's in and he's out and you don't know where the fuck he is and he's lighting you up.
Calls himself the Takeover.
This kid is entertaining, this kid is exciting, and this kid has talent.
Do that. Why? I'm a fighter. I got to dig in deep. I know he was coming. I can't give him that. I don't know if they got him up on the scorecards or not.
Just won, but what was the difference tonight?
Я не знаю, я, честно говоря, думал, что по ходу поединка, половину боя, половину поединка, да, у нас...
In the first half of the fight, yeah, he got more rounds than I did. But then in the second half of the fight, I took it over and I was much better.
What up, YouTube? We've got the Sporting Advantage stat breakdown today, and we will be breaking down Vasily Lomachenko versus Teofimo Lopez. We had, I wouldn't say a lot, but quite a few people that believe that Loma was able to pull out the win on the scorecard. So we're going to get into that today. We also had Loma come out and state that he also believes he won on the scorecard. So we're going to see how that reflects compared to our stat breakdown. All right, rounds 1 through 4. Lopez, he landed 35 shots in rounds 1 through 4. He threw 149. His landing percent was at 23. His average punches landed per round was 8.75. Loma, he landed 13 punches in rounds 1 through 4. So right there, we'll stop right here. So you have Lopez that's landed 35 and Loma's landed 13 punches in rounds 1 through 4. Okay, so Loma, he threw 36. He had a 36% landing rate. He also had, for his average punches landed per round, it was 3.25. That's really bad. So when you compare these, you had 149 for Lopez compared to Loma, who only threw 36 punches. So that's not a very good first set of rounds for Loma, but maybe it gets better. We'll have to continue. Rounds 5 through 8. You have Lopez. He landed 48 punches. Lopez threw 199. So already we can see right here that Lopez has increased his production from the first round from 35 to 48 landed. And even on thrown, he went from 149 to 199. So his new landing percent was only at 24%. So that, he only his landing percent only went up 1%, but that's to be expected given that, he threw 199 punches and he was only able to land right about 50. His average punches landed per round was 12. That's good. He jumped up almost, 4 from the opening first 4 rounds. Now let's get into Loma. Loma, his landing, the punches he landed was 37. The punches he threw was 82. He had a very high landing rate at 45%. But again, when you look at this, he's still tailing Teofimo when it comes to landing and thrown. He did step it up a lot. I mean, he increased it, almost 20 punches in the middle rounds, or 24 punches, in the middle rounds. And he also, threw over double the amount. His average punches landed per rounds for Loma was 9.25. So that's a lot better for him. But still, compared to Lopez at 12, he's still behind. But from 3.25 to 9.25, that's a big difference. And still, though, it's not looking like he's exactly winning the rounds on the scorecard. All right, the final set, rounds 9 through 12. Lopez, he landed 100 punches. He threw 311 punches, and his landing percent was at 32%. Now, Loma, he landed 91 punches. He threw 203, and his landing percent was 44%. So right here, what we can see is both of the men, they went crazy in these last 4 rounds. I mean, you have Lopez has even increased his punches landed by 52, and he's gone from 200 landed to 300 or 200 thrown to 311 thrown. Now the same thing can be said for Loma. Loma actually increased his even more than Lopez did. When you have him in 5 through 8 coming in at 37 landed, and now at 9 through 12 he's landed 91, and he's also thrown 203. And the previous 2 sets of rounds, 5 through 8 and 1 through 4 for Loma, he was, he topped out at 82. So in this last 4 rounds, he threw 203 punches. So he clearly knew that he needed to pick up his work rate, but still he was not able to beat Teofimo on the stats wise, because Teofimo threw 311, and he also landed 100 shots. And that's 9 better of even Loma, who, did great in the last 4 rounds. Now, this is where it gets really crazy. When you look at the average punches landed per round, Lopez shot up to 25. And, that's one of the highest stats I've seen in a while. And Loma, his average punches landed per round was at 22.75. Now, just to kind of give you an idea of, what he went from, Loma went from 3.25 landing per round in the opening 4 rounds. Then in the middle rounds, he shot up to 9.25. And then the final rounds, he shot all the way to 22.75. So the final 4 rounds for these guys was very competitive. It was probably the best set around, or the best set, of this whole entire stat breakdown. So you have Loma that's in the final 4 rounds, he had a landing percent of 44%. That's actually 1% less than his previous rounds, but Teo had 32%. And that, that would give him right at 8% more. So he did really well for himself. All right, so when you look at this whole fight, excluding the rounds, the total punches landed, you have Lopez landed 183 and Loma landed 141. Now, when it goes to punches thrown, this is where it gets really, really crazy. Lopez threw 659 total punches. Loma only threw 321. So Lopez threw over 300 more punches, and he landed right at about 42 more. Now, for the entire fight, his landing percent for Lopez was at 28%, and for Loma, he stayed right at 44%. The average punches landed per round for the entire fight for Lopez was 15.25. That's very good. For Loma, his average punches landed per round in the entire fight was 11.75. So you can see that rounds 9 through 12 really, really helped Loma on shooting his average up there. So after we look at this entire fight, I don't think Loma has any reason to be upset with the results. I mean, it could have been a lot worse for him on the cards. He was way behind from the get-go, and even going into the final rounds, he would have needed a knockout. He would have needed something special to happen, because Teofimo was the man of the night, and he deserves this win, and he outright destroyed Loma when it comes to the stats. Now, just to give you kind of an idea of, where Loma was before this fight, I took the Campbell fight. Now, his total punches landed in that fight was 211. You look at it versus Teo, he only landed 141. So he's already right there. You can see it's not the same fighter. His punches thrown was 527. You look at what he threw versus Lopez, it was only 321. His landing percent was at 40% versus Campbell. Teo, he did have a better landing percent versus Teo, but when you look at the actual numbers behind it, he didn't throw. He almost threw half as much as he usually does. His average punches landed per round for the Campbell fight was 17.5 versus Teo, it was only 11.75. I also took a fight for Lopez. It was the Nakatani fight, just to kind of give you an idea of, if he was better versus Loma, or is this just, his usual numbers. I did it for Loma, so I'm going to do it for Teo as well. Teo's total punches landed versus Nakatani was 166. His total punches thrown was 510. Now you look at, that compared to when he fought Loma, Lopez was at 183 landed, so he actually picked it up. And his punches thrown, he was at 659. So Lopez came in and he knew he had to outwork Loma, and he did just that by, throwing more punches and also landing more. His average punches landed per round versus Nakatani was 13.83. And you look at versus Loma, it was at 15.25. So clearly Lopez knew that he had to make some adjustments, and he did just that in order to beat Lomachenko. All right, so in conclusion, from the stats that we have here, Teofimo Lopez was the clear winner, and it wasn't even close. I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. Please hit the like, subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.